Welcome everyone. Today we have our another new episode, and this episode is very important because we have our honorable speakers, Professor David Smith from USA, Professor David Schumacher from Transhumanist Party, and we have Hong Kong Blockchain Association President Mr. Tony. So thank you for joining today. Let's start discussions. I'm sure our audience will enjoy today's sessions. Mr. Tony, how you want to analyze today's topic, especially blockchain technology? And we love to learn more about Hong Kong present situation because Hong Kong is a financial hub. So what's going on through this blockchain technology?
Well, thank you for the invitation. My name is Tony Tong. I'm the co-founder, co-chairman of Hong Kong Blockchain Association. For the last couple months, we saw that there's a lot of announcements. First, by the Chinese government that they're banning all the crypto exchanges and crypto miners in mainland China. So Hong Kong, as all of you know, is by the border, is one country, two system. So in Hong Kong, we are still free to trade Bitcoin. The government has, the Hong Kong SAR government has issued several licenses and has announced government regulations and policies regarding crypto exchanges, virtual asset trading platform, asset management companies such as virtual asset management companies licenses are regulated by the Hong Kong's Securities and Futures Commission, the regulator, and we can do OTC trading as well. So Hong Kong is still, I believe, one of the capitals for crypto and blockchain, Bitcoin, USDT, USDC, ETH trading. As far as mining, Hong Kong is the electricity cost in Hong Kong is pretty high. So as a result of several announcements this year, one in May, one in late September, China has announced pretty much banning all crypto mining from Bitcoin to Ethereum to Filecoin, Litecoin, other coins. So they're all exiting China. Some of them have moved over to Canada, to the US, maybe some to Texas as well. And some have moved to Russia and Kazakhstan, which is bordering China, because some of these used miners are pretty heavy and ocean freight may take too long. And some of the used equipment are not allowed to enter heavily regulated places like the US. So some of these used mining equipments end up going to Central Asia, like Kazakhstan. Ethereum mining is reasonably okay in Hong Kong because of it's not as power consuming. But Filecoin, IPFS Filecoin mining is accepted in Hong Kong. So a lot of the mainland Chinese miners, Filecoin IPFS, that's a project started by a Stanford University graduate, Juan Bennett, and but the Chinese miners love it. And now I'm working with some partners in Hong Kong, and I believe my partners are one of the largest IPFS Filecoin miners in Hong Kong, with over 300 racks in various data centers. So in Hong Kong, we're still business as usual. I think the ban in mainland China has created a lot of opportunities. It's just like casino gaming is banned in mainland China, so they moved to Macau, another special administrative region which allows casino gaming. So Hong Kong, I think, has a good chance of taking advantage of these. In the future, no one would know, but for now, we are doing crypto exchanges. We have like FTX.com, one of the youngest but most profitable, fastest growing crypto exchanges with derivatives, founded by American Sam in Hong Kong. It's been around for a couple of years, but it's achieved top 5 or top 3 in terms of trading volume. So as for Hong Kong Blockchain Association, we have so many companies from all over the world, like USDT, Tether, they have an office here. Charles Hoskinson, Cardano, they are founded in Hong Kong, IOHK. So I, because of the pandemic, I haven't seen many of them for over a year. I hope that traveling hopefully will resume next year, and I hope to catch up with from fellow crypto blockchain industry people from all over the world, and I hope to see you guys return to Hong Kong hopefully next year.
Thank you, Mr. Tony. Definitely, we want to do a conference in Hong Kong. Definitely, blockchain technology is very important. I'm sure that you can support this initiative. Mr. David Schumacher, you are from Transhumanist Party. I know that Transhumanist already introduced Transhumanist Coin and many interesting project you have, and you are also introducing blockchain and cryptocurrencies. So, how you want to analyze today's session, and what type of new information you want to share with our audience?
Yeah, good morning, good evening, Sharif. I thought I'd start with maybe a little refresher for those, or maybe new for those that aren't quite sure what blockchain is. There's a lot of talk about cryptocurrencies and so forth, which blockchain is a fundamental part of. And blockchain and even the cryptocurrencies have the commonality of the fact that what we have here is a chain of blocks that are dependent upon, that carry data, that have a specific hash identity, and they are linked to the previous block by its hash identity. So breaking the chain breaks the validity of what's going on, and this is a lot of the attraction to something like blockchain. It's hard to tamper with, because if you tamper with the data that's in one of those particular blocks, it changes the hash, which then changes its link to the next block, and the invalidity then is very apparent. There's also something called proof of work, which is what the data mining that Tony was talking about is about, and this is also something else that helps keep the particular blocks from being corrupted or being hacked, because those would all have to be changed. It's all this interlinking relationship between all of the blocks. And on top of that, it's on top of a peer-to-peer network. So there are thousands, maybe millions of copies of these transactions that would all have to be hacked, well, at least over 50% of them, to be able to change something that's in there. So it's an immutable record at this particular point. So without too much more background, I want to talk about the fact that Bitcoin is one expression of blockchain. There are other coins, and there are no coins at all. They're using this distributed ledger just to create and keep information, and that I see probably as the biggest future. Now, Sharif, you mentioned the Transhumanist Party, thank you, and in the link, though this is not something that is a Transhumanist Party initiative, out of Australia, the Transhumanist Party there has created something called the Transhumanist coin. And there are many coins out there. So I'm putting this into the private chat, the link. But this is a research and charity token for promoting investment in transhumanist technologies, whether it be implants, whether it be extension of life, whether it be the promotion of artificial intelligence. This is one way to become involved. So there's lots of different uses for blockchain, and cryptocurrency, digital money is just one of those. Smart contracts in Ethereum is an automated process to be able to, just like any contract, I will do this if you will do this. And this can be embedded in Ethereum. And once again, it's pretty much non-hackable event once that has been once that has been established. So with that, I'll pass the control back to Sharif.
Thank you. Thank you. Now I request Professor David Smith.
Sharif, I thank David so much for doing the introduction there, because oftentimes blockchain is confused with cryptocurrency, but a blockchain is some of the underlying foundation that makes cryptocurrency happen. And blockchain technology is used so much more broadly besides just in the cryptocurrency area. The global market size for blockchain technology back in 2020 was a little bit over $3.6 billion marketplace. And it has a very attractive growth rate going forward in the future. Some of the analysts report see it growing between 50 to 60% a year, compound annual growth rates going forward through about 2030. And as you look at that, you're seeing very large companies get involved with it. You see large companies on the blockchain side with folks like IBM, Wipro, and others going over there. But what's more interesting to me than that is looking at how blockchain is now becoming a common service on many of the clouds. I mean, I can go and access those services, for example, on the IBM cloud and AWS, on Amazon's cloud, on Microsoft's cloud, and actually do blockchain as a service within the clouds. And in the clouds, you can set up the two main flavors of blockchain, a public blockchain or a private blockchain. And each of those have its own degrees of security and sophistication around them. One of the other very interesting things to me is I look at blockchain technology, is you begin to say, what are the markets it's used in? Where are we seeing the pieces put together? And what are those important elements? And the vulnerabilities of blockchain and the benefits of blockchain are actually tied together as you begin to look at them. Some of the benefits of blockchain is it allows us to have greater trust, because you can either be a member of a members only blockchain or a public one, which public increases the visibility, the transparency of it. And because of the fact that you have these blockchains written at multiple places, and a new blockchain has to be built upon a prior blockchain, which is built upon a prior blockchain, you begin to see the benefits of beginning to do that and going into what is the elements of it. Some of the same things that make blockchain secure actually make it insecure at times, because I can branch a blockchain pretty easy, and I can actually with blockchains do man-in-the-middle type of attacks, and you see those and see how they work. But you really have four major types. You have a public blockchain, a private blockchain, what's called a permission blockchain, and a new type called a consortium blockchain. And these approaches give you the options to really put in place the appropriate one that fits your needs. During COVID, one of the fastest growing applications of blockchain was in the healthcare marketplace, both to be able to track the vaccines, track the people who it's been distributed to, trace even lines to get in place to receive the vaccine and things. So you've seen a lot of growth in there. But blockchain, distributed ledger technology, is used so broadly that anywhere you need to have a record that cannot be easily interfered with, blockchain technology can be an appropriate solution for that.
Thank you. Professor David J. Kelly, we are discussing about blockchain, and I know you are expert in AI. So, what's new thing you want to share with our audience?
Well, I think like people have been saying that and there's all kinds of uses for blockchain technology. I know, like with our lab, we use uh, blockchain technology. It's one of the design features used for resource management between competing systems, which uses a distributed ledger system, which is a type of blockchain to manage resources between different systems without any human interaction. It's really, I think, a great tool, especially without having to establish a trust relationship with between different parties for all kinds of stuff. And personally, I think it's good because it also focusing on cryptocurrency specifically, I think it puts pressure on governments to um, uh, get their monetary policies straight, uh, which is why you see like China and the U.S. government both have issues with blockchain because of the fact that with blockchain, they lose some of the controls over the economy. Um, which, from my standpoint, I think that's a good thing.
Thank you. Mr. Markley. Mr. Markley, can you hear me?
How y'all doing? How you
Oh,
doing? I'm
yes, I'm fine. I'm
definitely
fine.
glad to be. Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me? Oh no, hold on. No, hear me? Can
Mr.
y'all hear
Markley, I
me?
cannot. Now I can hear you.
Yes, I think y'all can hear me. But one of the things I was going to say about blockchain is we're seeing more and more people using it on a regular basis. Can you hear me now? Or is it breaking up?
Mr. Markley, we can hear you. I'm sorry, I think he has internet problem. Mr. Tony, especially as you are a president of Hong Kong Blockchain Association, so like how you develop policy, because our many audience actually come from developing nations. So what type of policy actually Hong Kong government implementing right now, or your associations, your forum actually help to develop the policy for blockchain technology?
Well, I think Hong Kong regulators really follows very close with the USA's SEC's regulations. So, for example, in America, the SEC came out with regulations on securities token offering (STO) 2-3 years ago, and shortly after that, the Hong Kong SFC came out with quite similar regulations. In the US, you are only allowed to invest in a STO as if you're an accredited investor, meaning that you have 1 million US dollar liquid wealth. In Hong Kong, the SFC make it 8 million Hong Kong dollars, which is slightly more than 1 million US for professional investors. So in the US, there's an IPO for Coinbase to get listed. In Hong Kong, we have one listed company that is a publicly listed company on the Hong Kong Stock Exchange that has a license for virtual asset trading platform. So another thing is in the US you have like Grayscale, Bitcoin Trust that's traded, and also BITO ETF that's traded on the exchange. In Hong Kong, the SFC has also announced a number of virtual asset management licenses, which allows crypto funds to be structured, that allows them to do fundraising and regulated by the regulator. So So we are very actively involved in the virtual asset trading platform, working with regulators in Hong Kong, and also working to acquiring the virtual asset management licenses. We also are working with the miners, and also NFT is very popular right here in Hong Kong. So many galleries, there's a lot of investors investing in crypto pills, crypto punks, and many other NFT IPs are coming out, and also NFT exchanges are coming out right here in Hong Kong. So personally, I'm also involved in a few NFT projects. There's a project called 9cat.io, is an NFT GameFi project that I'm invested in. And for Bitcoin mining and Bitcoin exchange, there's a project that we are involved. Is called BitcoinWhale.co. That's one project that we're involved in.
Thank you, Mr. Markley. Can you hear me right now?
Hello. Can y'all hear me now?
Yes.
Good. Glad y'all can hear me. One of the things I was going to say is that blockchain is definitely playing a very vital point on a lot of things that are going on in the community, particularly the minority community and the artistic community. A lot of minorities and artists are using things like NFT and other blockchain technologies in order to eliminate some of those middle people that have been the drains in the economy. Because, like I said, they would like to go directly to the consumer and not have to depend on agents and other folks. And a lot of folks in that space are finding blockchains, particularly NFTs, to be a very meaningful way to create more of their own wealth. So that is what I'm seeing a lot of people are doing in that blockchain technology. There's also people that are creating their own metaverses in their own different groups of interest or groups of influence. For a fact, I know that for a fact that there is a group called Black Metaverse, which is actually doing a metaverse space out of the African American community, and the founder is actually based in Raleigh, North Carolina. I'm here in Durham, and then one of his co-founders is in Virginia. And you can actually look them up. They're very active on Clubhouse and a number of other spaces. And I know that there's some other people that are doing similar things in the Latin American community, in the LGBT community, and a number of other communities. So I'm finding that a lot of people are using blockchain, metaverses, and some of these other ways to one, get wealth into their own communities and not have to depend on some of the other things and some of the more traditional things like banks and all of that. But that's what I'm learning more and more people are doing. I'm actually participating this week in a Black business conference, and I know that they've been talking a lot about cryptocurrency and the blockchain technology, even seeing that as a way to maybe get out of some of the economic wealth gaps that very much exist in our community. I don't know what the other guests like Mr. Kelly and Mr. Smith and Mr. Shoemaker and even Tony think about that, but I do know that that is a conversation that's been taking place a lot, and particularly during this pandemic, as more and more people were staying home, finding these new resources and a lot of other things. So I'd love to hear from some of my fellow panelists what their thoughts are about that.
Thank you, Mr. David Schumacher. I have a specific question for you. Will this particular blockchain project return value of the organization with the network? This is some of the basic questions we regularly me. So from our students, if you respond.
Yeah, Sharif, on my
Mr.
end,
David,
there were
yes.
comments that were a little garbled. I didn't quite get them. So, Sharif, I wanted to talk about a couple of things about Bitcoin, and then maybe we can come back to what you may have been asking me. I wanted to say that whether it be Bitcoin or just blockchain in general, or NFTs, or any of the aspects of the things that we're talking about here, these are new, obviously, and new requires change beyond just what we're originally talking about. So what I mean by that is, I'll take an example, is that the proof of work that I was talking about, one of the ways to make blockchain trustable requires a great deal of energy to be able to go through and to produce. And that has been a criticism of blockchain. I'm seeing that blockchain miners are moving to places where they can get low-cost electricity. Obviously, that's in their benefit, but it's also in benefit to society if they can get low-cost renewable energy. Um, American states like Texas are known for energy development, originally oil, but also great developments now in solar and other renewable energies. And I understand that there are a great number of blockchain miners that are moving to that state. And that's not by chance, that's part of change, adapting to change as we go through and use innovative and ingenious ideas to be able to carry something like this forward. An area that I'm really interested in, because the Transhumanist Party is interested in politics and all of the supporting pillars to politics, and one of those that is of great interest to me is voting. In the United States, voting, it can be done by machine, but we're still linked to a paper trail, a paper ballot, if you will, a paper receipt that gets printed. And that really slows the process. And not only that, I believe that blockchain is much more secure than paper stored in a vault or needing to be transferred from one place to another. And an allied association, TAFIDS, out of Africa, in one of their magazines, I wrote an article about how paper ballots, I gave it a provocative title to get people to read it. Are paper ballots a threat to our democracy? And the whole idea is being able to adapt to the new in a way that creates not only high trust in blockchain, but high trust in the process applying it someplace like voting, and being able to step away from things that we feel that are comfortable that maybe aren't as secure as what's coming into play right now. So I believe that voting with a blockchain back end can be very beneficial for the future if we can get over needing to hang on to a piece of paper. On this show before, I've talked about the country of Estonia, who has taken most of their governmental processes and put them online and developed trust in a number of ways, and blockchain is one of those. So I think we can look around the world and see what other people are doing well and how they've improved their process, which Estonia has done over time, and apply these in medicine has been mentioned, but I think also in something as crucial as voting in democracies. Back to you, Sharif.
Thank you. Mr. David Smith. Mr. David Smith, yes. My questions to you, how could we use blockchain to connect with other part of our markets? Like,
Well, blockchain has the ability to be the underlying data of record as you're connecting regions with each other, as you're connecting companies, research, and even products as you're going globally with it. Most of the desire for budding entrepreneurs is not to be just successful within their region, but to become successfully globally. And we've mentioned before that I'm on the board of the International Accelerator here in North America. And as we look at the applications coming in from all around the globe, many of them are using blockchain as part of the underlying foundation for the innovations and new products they're trying to create. So it has a broad applicability for that. And blockchain is applicable to so many different industries, so many different government activities. One of the criticisms of today's governments is a lack of transparency. Distributed ledgers built with blockchain, built with hyperledgers and other types like that are one of the underlying technologies that can help increase transparency within governments, within the financial industry, within healthcare, within all these different areas. But the two leading places that we're seeing today heavily is financial industry, medical, healthcare industry, and others. Um, and to me, it's kind of interesting on the regional side of what you talked about. Traditionally, much of the growth in blockchain technology has been driven out of North America, with companies like IBM, Oracle, Microsoft, and others getting into it. Europe was second, but the fastest growing region in blockchain technology is really the Asia Pacific region right now. Its compound annual growth rate is about 30% higher than it is in North America and Europe right now. And Europe actually has been, growth rate has been cutting back since the start of COVID in the blockchain area. But seeing that blockchain is used globally in all these different countries, it has great applicability to your region, Sharif, with what you're trying to do there and for the entrepreneurship there. And blockchain's next big growth rate outside of it is actually, as David said, let's look how we can use it in the public sector as part of that. There is still a lot of research going on. I have seen several companies lately, in my company, ETT, as we're looking at mindless blockchain, where you can produce blockchains and even NFTs on blockchains without the massive amount of computer hardware and the massive amount of mining that has been necessary up until now. So even in academia, the research, still a lot of research on how we can make blockchain better and how we can advance it and how we can do things. So great opportunities for it. And like I said, the government use of blockchain is one that I really expect to see grow unless there is a fear of transparency.
Thank you, Mr. Markley.
Yeah, one of the things I'm wondering about is a lot of times when I hear about blockchain, it does seem to very much run by the youth movement, and I'm glad that. I mean, I'm in my late 50s, but it does seem like a lot of our youngsters are getting more into blockchain. And I was wondering, do you think that this is a good thing, or would they be able to drag our folks that are in, I guess I could put myself in that middle age bracket or in the elderly bracket with them? Because a lot of times when I hear blockchain and the blockchain kind of technology, it does seem to be more geared, and more people that are getting into it are those that are in the youth markets. Probably a lot of your students, even Mr. Sharif, are involved in blockchain. But I was wondering, are we seeing enough of the other age groups getting into it? As I mentioned earlier, I definitely know that a lot of the minority community is finding it very fascinating and even a way to eliminate some of the vast wealth gaps that exist here in the United States. I'm in Durham, North Carolina, and I do know that that is oftentimes a conversation is around the wealth gap. But I was just wondering, to my fellow panelists, do they think that it is maybe too much of a youth-driven movement? Because I know that there have been other movements that were very youth-driven, and they kind of sputtered out because they were so youth-driven that the rest of us didn't kind of jump on band and everything. We can go back to like some of the anti-war movements with Vietnam, and some people might even argue Black Lives Matter and the climate as well. But I was just wondering, to my fellow panelists, do we feel that enough of the entirety of the citizenship of the world are getting involved?
Thank you, Mr. David Kelly. But I have different questions to you. As your organization, especially AZI Lab, you are working with artificial intelligence. You help government to develop policy. This is very, very important, especially for the developing nations, because developing nations, they struggle with this policy development, especially governments and many organizations. So when you develop this kind of solutions, like your organization use blockchain technology, or how does it work, or what you want to share with our
Well,
audience?
so yes, so we have a collective intelligence system that is in our lab that we're doing work with, and we're looking at implementing um, that system for a number of governments and some international groups, um, and that that system is on one hand using a type of AGI cognitive architecture. It uses it kind of synthesizes knowledge from constituency for developing policies and doing analysis on them, and it uses, as I mentioned earlier, uses blockchain for a number of things, including resource management, and then we're looking at certifying votes and doing voting within the tool. So besides asking people, collecting information about policies, do policy analysis, of actually being able to use it for voting within a constituency and to be able to certify elections and being able to track your vote to see if it was counted and different kinds of things like that. And that's how we're using it for policy and voting.
Excellent. Actually, like as your organization working with policy and policy related things, World Talent Economy Forum is up this year, December 1 to 3. We have a very exclusive event with Rwanda governments, like Rwanda 12 ministries, like including their uh, uh, president office to planning ministries, their energy, their foreign ministries, as well as different university and 15 embassy also joining in our session, in our open dialogue. Beside that, we will help the local government to develop the policy. So if you have a better solutions and this kind of things, definitely we want to welcome. We want to welcome your organization because we are working with developing nations. Developing nations has a lot of challenges, so they need proper solutions. So from our speakers panel, those who are really interested to collaborate for this is interesting dialogue and policy development, they can join. This exclusive event will be uh, 1 December to 3 Decembers. And I believe that all of the ministers and the government peoples and corporation, as well as world famous speakers like you, they will join in this event. Mr. Ching, Mr. Chings, so what you want to add today about this blockchain technology?
Yeah, well, I believe, you see, there is something different from the current culture of based on science, from our culture based on pole science. Okay, the most important difference is we are dealing with pole science deals with permanence and the universality. All the creation of today's engineer are temporary. The creation of nature, such as DNA, are designed for permanent existence. So there's a difference. Okay, in nature, if something that's not permanent, it's not worth to create. Okay, this is very fundamental, and you try to associate with all these new words coming up. Okay, they should consider this idea of permanence. Okay, this idea of blockchain is excellent. It's an example of human creation which might turn into a permanent existence in the concept. Okay, the reason to prove that the blockchain can be permanent is not what today most people talk about. They say it's secure, all this thing. The reason is the the best proof that blockchain will exist permanently and universally is the real estate title recording, okay, which has existed for thousands of years. Basically the blockchain should give credit to this title search, real estate title search. They don't, and I think they try to tell people they have invented this, but without the real estate title search being working for so long, Paul would not really consider this blockchain new concept will it has any proof that they're going to exist forever. You see. So another thing I would like to add is, blockchain initially is closely associated with currency. Okay, currency is a big issue. Okay, also it's very relevant. Also, it's very relevant to the new world because today we have inflation, we have, trade war. We are facing a currency reset. So if you look at all this past currency, all the past currency are no longer existing. Okay. Today's fiat currency and all the currency will not exist except gold and silver. The Romans use silver, US, British use gold. Okay, so they give evidence to the value of gold and silver. Why? They have intrinsic value. Okay, and they last permanently. So in this regard, both sides claim we have created a currency, and with this currency we claim we have invented money. Okay, it's called universal permanent money. You see, again, the term universal and permanent. How can we claim that? Because we create this entity with intrinsic value. What is universal permanent money? Okay, it is simply integers, globally permanent unique integers. Okay. Every integer can only use once. Okay, we keep the entire set of integers. Okay, we'll check if it's used the second time. Okay, this integer idea has been tested for a long time, especially in books. Every book has to have an integer name, and this integer name must not be in conflict with other integers. So you can type in the integer, you get the book. Unfortunately, the people who invented ISBN did not consider the concept of permanence or universality. They just pull out their own set of integers. So it is supposed to be temporary or supposed to be local. It's not universal. Okay, so ISBN are basically incorrectly designed. But it has shown that there's this possibility of integers being permanent. ISBN, it's not designed for permanence, but it is used as an integer which will last forever. But it's, they say they can last forever, but our universal permanent number is better than the ISBN. So eventually, we can run ISBN out of business because they are not globally unique. You got the, driver license number, you have social security number, all this number can come into conflict. Okay, product number, you don't want something that can come into conflict. So you need to have a distinct. Okay, the reason I say this thing has intrinsic value is ISBN. If you try to publish a book in US, you have to pay $150 for one ISBN with 13 digits. In other words, integer has value. People do not realize this. Okay, used in a universal way like ISBN, it gives value, intrinsic value to integers. But this idea of universal permanent money is not trivial. Okay, universal permanent money is a subset of universal permanent integer. Universal permanent integer or universal permanent number is the complete set of integers from minus infinity to plus infinity. Another way, we have copyright the entire set of universal permanent number, all the integers. Universal permanent number is a byproduct of universal permanent software, which is a complete automated software. Okay, the complete automated software has the ability to remember the meaning of every integer in the universal permanent number. In other words, the number gets too big, you need something to remember it. Okay, basically, universal permanent software has eliminated all the technology in computer usage. In other words, it does not allow a user to remember anything when you use the universal permanent software. In practice, universal permanent software will allow every human being over the age of 6 to program a computer without any learning curve. Once they get on the computer, they will see questions, multiple questions asked of them to pick. Okay, so they can understand it's all in native languages. It's not computer code. So they can just make choices. Once they make choices, the program will be done. And this program will be able to update to any other type of program. In other words, you can update C to Fortran automatically, but today you cannot. Okay. And then now you have a system that way you can update them. So the universal permanent software remembers all the meaning of all the universal permanent number. Okay, and
Yes.
this universal permanent money will go along very well with blockchain. Okay, if we have some African nation, they want some currency, we say, okay, use universal permanent money.
Yes.
This money, if they own this digital, they will not own it permanently, universally. Okay, just like gold, but it's easy to transfer because it's digital, it's numbers, it's integers. Okay, so
Yes.
and then, today we have problem. We have problem of government printing money. Okay, huge problem. Okay, it's going to like Germany. One time they print too much money and the currency just went obsolete. So basically, this idea, I'm trying to contribute this. I'm sorry that I'm not fully into this blockchain, but I think I'm one of the most knowledgeable person on blockchain because I read everything that's possible to read, and also I have many world top experts, especially those in the Silicon Valley. Okay, one teacher in San Jose State. They write books about blockchain. If you people need technology support of this blockchain or somebody to explain this clearly, technically, I have the people. I also know Jose Rubin. I know all these guys who are actually all these guys are very easy to approach. You can just go approach them. You see, it's not that they are like other billionaires. They are billionaires, but they are not like other. You can approach them if you have a good idea, you give it to them, and they communicate with you. So this is a new field. I think this is one of the fields that we don't have that much criticism. Blockchain is something we support, and I think you should. But it's very simple. Take one page of programming, and also another good thing about this blockchain is it's written in JavaScript. Okay, Poseidon Institute, the universal permanent software is written in BASIC and JavaScript. Actually, we converted BASIC and JavaScript into complete automated software, complete automated universal permanent software. So they are related. So our company do not object our programmers to use JavaScript. And technically, great. This is great. We like it. It's we have the whole thing. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Ching. Thank you.
Thank you for giving me the time.
Thank you. I know that you have some innovation in this industry. That's why I give you more time. But we have other speakers as well. Mr. Tony. Mr. Tony.
Sorry, what was the question?
Yes, my questions to you, like, let's say we are discussing about blockchain technology. World Talent Economy Forum, we do more focus on economic development. So, do you believe this technology will help to uplift many underprivileged society, or how
Uh,
it will?
well, yes. During this pandemic, we've seen like NFT, metaverse, GameFi projects coming from Vietnam and all over Southeast Asia. Uh, Many people are jobless. They're playing this Axis Infinity. I became a small investor in this project and made some money, and many people are playing it. My friends are hiring people to play to earn. So I think this is going to change how in the future how games will work. Uh, Also, with crypto mining, as I mentioned earlier, in Hong Kong, there are many companies and data centers that they used to have excess capacity, racks, and that are not being utilized. But now all the racks are packed up with IPFS Filecoin miners, hard disks, because it drove the demand for all kinds of hard disks, CPUs, and they can earn steady income. Another thing is intellectual property, IP owners, whether they're are artists, painters, singers, or video makers, or even novelists, poets, programmers. They can uh, utilize their intellectual property. They can digitize them and put it on OpenSea and other platform, and they can interact and raise fund. Deal with directly with investors. So I know that really gave ways for a lot of the content creators to use this NFT technology. So we've seen the NFT technology, the GameFi, play to earn, DeFi. DeFi allows people to actually earn on staking. So I see it's a very different world in the future. I think in the past we've seen my mother, my grandmother, they like to put their money in the bank and they're happy with 1 or 2% return annually. But the young kids these days, they have accounts on like crypto.com or Binance. There are lots of ways for them to earn money, and the content creators uh, they can also make a lot of money by trading. Like I mentioned, the team I happened to meet the Nine Cat team. They are very talented people in Hong Kong. They love cats. They're creating these cat NFTs and GameFi projects. So lots of opportunities for young people and content creators.
Thank you, Mr. David Smith.
One of the critical places where we're beginning to see blockchain technologies develop today is around the logistics space. And, the global supply shortages today are a great example of where blockchain technology can be used to meet critical needs. Here in my hometown of Austin, we're all hearing the fact that Christmas might be a little bit leaner today because offshore on the West Coast, there's hundreds of cargo ships that cannot get to port. We're seeing the same thing on the Atlantic side of the country as well. And even when they get there, the amount of shipping and trucking to get them delivered is really not adequate for what we need to do. IBM has actually opened a whole practice area in trying to deal with supply chain applications of blockchain. And I see that as an area where we can really build up on. The other place, though, is that the regulatory impacts around the use of distributed ledgers, hyperledger, blockchain is beginning to become much more regulated. Tony mentioned at the top of the show that China has really begun to uh, clamp down on Bitcoin mining and the whole crypto uh, area of it. One of the things my company is doing is one of our portfolio companies is looking at innovative approaches to create an environment that for cryptocurrencies is relatively regulatory free, and looking at ways to do that. And I think they're going to see other approaches come to bear in that, which will look at creative approaches to be able to use a blockchain-based currency, a blockchain-based area of exchange in a way where it can be impacted by minimal conflicting regulations. That the conflicting regulations is one of the things that is really holding back the cryptocurrencies that are built around blockchain, in that each region is different, each banking system is different in there. And even in Singapore and Hong Kong and places, there's conflicting regulatory environments for that. And then you come over to North America and you see very, very different regulations being put in place with that. So the compliance side, the regulatory side, is one where people getting into the space, Sharif, need to be very careful, because there is not a global standard. There is not a level playing field as you begin to apply the technology globally.
Thank you, Mr. David Schumacher.
Yeah, so I mentioned earlier about a video that does a very simple job of explaining how blockchain works. And at the end of that video, they talk about JavaScript and even writing your own short programs. The reason I bring that up is I see this as an area for youth, for people in Asia Pacific that are interested in coding, that are interested in things like JavaScript, to be able to look for opportunities, to be able to interface into something that's very specific for their area. There's a lot of major players that we've talked about today. IBM's been talked about, and others. And those are truly very large, broad scale applications that they're doing, or back-end services in the cloud that they're providing. But I believe that there's opportunities for those with an entrepreneurial mindset to be able to work at the local level to provide integration, so to speak, in that last distance to the customer, perhaps, maybe something for a store in the area that can interface better, something that takes currency in a particular region or a particular language and be able to translate that into opportunities. So I think that's one area that possibly could be explored in Malaysia and other countries throughout Asia Pacific.
Thank you. Thank you. This is a very good session, especially for our audience. And I just declared that we have a special episode this December. January, we have another special episode with all of the Muslim worlds, because we will do a conference on halal halal networks, halal investment networks. So hopefully it will be another interesting initiative by World Talent Economy Forum. Beside that, Mr. David Schumacher, you are from Trans-Humanist Party. Last Sunday, we finished a very interesting debating tournaments in Malaysia. Malaysian debate, definitely worldwide, it's very popular. And I just want to share the debate tournament finals. I was adjudicator for this final debate. But definitely, we need to promote young people. We need to promote logical argument. And I believe this is the responsibility of the political party. Uh, Even though from this, I saw there are many future leaders from this debating tournament. It's in Malaysia, but if we can arrange a international debate tournament, definitely with the youth, because we are the senior citizen, we always discuss about many serious things. But this is the future leaders, those who can discuss about the future policy, future developments, and this way we can find out the better leaders for our politics. Even Malaysia has better politician like Sir Abdul Rahman. He is also very young politician and he was youth ministers. Besides, from debating committee, there are many politicians and everything. So I don't know in the futures, World Talent Economy Forum with the help of Transhumanist Party, we want to arrange this kind of debating tournament, international debating tournaments, because I find this very fruitful process for critical analysis. I also part of debating communities, and I believe that many successful corporate persons, political leaders, academicians, they are from debating community. Even in Oxford Union, I saw Benazir Bhuttos and many successful politicians from Oxford Union, Lakers Union. I believe Harvard Union also same. So that is the good initiative I want to take with Transhumanist Party, because they are political party and they have worldwide networks. But I believe that we need to nurture young people, young talented. That's why we develop talent economy. So thank you, dear audience, those who observing our show and support World Talent Economy Forum. And I'm very happy that you share our content with your governments, with your corporations and academy, because we are getting a very good response from around the world. And I believe with the support of all of our speakers, we can develop a better world. And we in the developing world, they have lot of problem. We need lot of good solutions. So from the speakers, I know many of them from different corporations, many of them from political party, many of them from academia. So I know you have huge team. If we can work together, we can help many village community. So thank you for joining today's session. I directly want to go for concluding remarks. I want to start from Mr. Tony. What's your concluding remarks for today?
Thank you.
Mr. Tony, what's your concluding remarks?
Thank you for the invitation. Hong Kong we've seen a lot of changes over the last year from China to Hong Kong in terms of the government policies. But I think the Hong Kong is still ranked one of the highest, freest economies in the world. And I hope that Hong Kong will continue to thrive. And I hope to catch up with all of you. We used to have a lot of conferences right here in Hong Kong, physical, offline, and online. And I look forward to having all of you to come back to Hong Kong. There are lots of good projects here. And the government regulator here has set up the regulations. And many companies are applying for licenses. So it's a very bright market, whether you're talking about NFT or metaverse, GameFi, DeFi, crypto mining. I believe Hong Kong is the crypto capital of the world. So hope to see all of you in Hong Kong.
Thank you. Definitely, we want to arrange a conference in Hong Kong, and definitely we're going to invite all of our speakers in Hong Kong. Mr. Ching, what's your concluding remarks today?
Oh yeah, okay. Concluding remark. I would be making this remark, I guess, many times in the future. Okay, I just sort of speak to our own people in the past. The remark regarding transhumanist party is that people try to build robots. Okay, the more advanced they build the robot, the more and more they will realize The most advanced robot is the human. Okay, our group is focusing on DNA intelligence. In other words, we feel DNA is the most intelligent, and no matter how human try, finally they will end up with contributing to the universal wisdom of DNA. So that's one remark. Another remark is about this developing countries. Okay, our opinion is we need, we are in US, we're in Silicon Valley, and we understand China very, very, very well. So we don't believe the future will be in these two places because they all stuck with their own culture. Okay, US stuck with the culture of freedom. There's nothing wrong with freedom, but there is something to be added that our Posan Institute has discovered non-viable laws of nature in social science, which will regulate our behavior, which means that we have no freedom. Okay, and the developing countries should consider themselves to become the next new world. In other words, throughout history, all the progress in human culture went through the accumulation of the best thinkers in the world into one area. Okay, if you go back, it's very difficult to change your culture. But the way to do it is to gather together, get a good place like the United States. So all the best thinkers in the world accumulating in the United States, especially accumulating in Silicon Valley, where we are. We see this trend. I have 10 mentors. Most of them are from the United States. So our pick for the next new world will be somewhere like New Zealand and Australia. Also, Africa and Brazil can also participate. If there's a World War III military war, then it will hasten the development of the new world. Just like World War II hastened the development of US as the new world. Okay, US, Canada, and Brazil is really the new world. But Brazil is too much influenced by US. Canada is also influenced by US. So then, it's difficult to change. When people are already fixed in one culture, it's difficult to tell them you shouldn't have freedom. In China, even more difficult. Okay, China is in the age of reason. Okay, they think they reason everything that everything will be okay, but that's not so, because the French Revolution 1789 is the age of reason. Okay, it brought human into the most painful period in human history. World War I, pandemic, Great Depression, World War II, subprime, savings, long subprime. All this is a reason. Okay, in the name of reason, the world is not run by reason. The world is run by non-viable laws of nature. Okay, nature dictates everything. So, we see we need a new place to develop to pick as the next new world. So they will develop the new culture, and everybody will go there. All the best thinkers, most thinkers will be against the establishment. Okay, they are not satisfied by the old place. They will move to the new world and develop the new world from the beginning, a new culture. Okay, so that's my view. These two ideas that basically will be discussed by me from now on.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Professor David J. Kelly, what's your concluding remarks today?
Well, I think I would just like to say that when people start looking at technology like this, that it's wide open, especially in economies that have potential to grow. You're not going to see a lot of growth in the United States. You're not going to see a lot of growth in China, but like in the Philippines, there's a lot of room for growth, and it behooves all of us to help these economies move forward. And one of the tools we can do that is blockchain. Um, and it's really what you can do with it is limited only by your imagination.
Thank you for your excellent comment. Mr. David Schumacher, what's your concluding remarks?
Well, another great show today, Sharif. Glad to be here. I want to say that for those that aren't familiar with the term, transhumanism is a very broad term. And from my point of view, transhumanism continues to look for opportunities to transform the human condition using science and technology. And I say continue because this has been going on through human history for a long time. We now have the resources to really focus that way. And that's the idea, is that it focuses on people. And it takes a lot of different forms, like smart contracts that we were talking about today in blockchain is a way of helping transform the human condition by increasing trust among all the members in the network. The U.S. Transhumanist Party that I'm a part of, we are interested in putting science, health, and technology at the forefront of politics, making evidence-based decisions, evidence-based solutions. That's something actually kind of radical for politics to be able to do that. But that's our aim as we go forward. And I always enjoy an opportunity to talk about the future as it is today and the future as we're going to make it tomorrow. Thank you, Sharif.
Thank you, Mr. David Schumacher. Mr. David Smith, what's your concluding remarks?
Sharif, I love how your programs focus on technology that can make a difference. Distributed ledger technology, blockchain, is one of those technologies that can make a difference. It doesn't matter if you are a emerging country, a top tier country. Blockchain technology really doesn't matter where you're located on the globe. You can apply it there, you can innovate around blockchain technology, and you can build millions of different applications that can be built upon the foundation of blockchain technologies as part of it. Blockchain technology is going to touch all areas of the technopolis. It's going to touch academia. It's going to touch consumers. It's going to touch government, and it's going to touch the commercial folks using it. So it truly is a technology that has global impact and can be a technology that many other activities, products, services can be built upon. It's one that if I were a budding entrepreneur today, I would look at how I can use this type of distributed technologies as part of my product offering and the products I'm going to design and bring to market. So Sharif, I think you select great topics, and this is one of them.
Thank you, Professor David Smith, Professor David Schumacher, Professor David J. Kelly, Professor Ching, Mr. Tony for joining today's sessions. World Talent Economy Forum, still we are growing, but we are trying to engage with government, with corporations and academy. So I just want to say that we just started from Malaysia. Yes, we get a lot of support from developed world, especially many scholars like you. They regularly join in World Talent Economy Forum and inspire millions of people. And that is the achievement I want to say. Even though it's in Africa next month, I saw there is 1,000 of women entrepreneurs, those who actually engage with World Talent Economy Forum, and you people can train the women entrepreneurs. Besides that, many government, they are collaborating with us for policy development, for doing a lot of research, and cutting edge technology always helpful. Even I'm from a developing nations, and I saw that technology actually help us a lot for economic sustainabilities. So definitely technology is important. Modern science, engineering, also very important for us. Transhumanism also important for us. So we have to work together. We need to bring everyone under an umbrella, and then we need to solve the real life problem. And definitely we are engaging with the grassroots level, and I'm sure in between 1 year we will reach millions of people, because how we are engaging, we are getting very positive response. And especially I want to give thanks to all of our speakers for your continuous support for World Talent Economy Forum. And I request all of our audience, please share our content. It's 100% free. All of our content actually for your developments, you can utilize in your classroom. Government can use for their policy development. Corporate can use it for their business development. So this is the way actually the global community should take different initiative. So hopefully through this process we can solve many problems. Thank you, Honorable Speaker, Mr. Tony, Mr. Ching, Professor David J. Kelly, Mr. David Schumacher, and Professor David Smith. Thank you. Bye bye and take care.
Thank you. Bye bye.